Hello, my name is Carleigh Parker, and for my final project, I'm going to be talking about K-12 school biases in pop culture, specifically in the show Glee. Glee is a television show that was created in 2009. The show focuses on a diverse group of high school students who come together through their love for singing. The students face many different social injustices, including racism, homophobia, identity discrimination, and bullying, especially towards LGBTQ students and students who come from different backgrounds. Multiple characters in the show face injustices. The singing group as a whole faces bullying and backlash just for being a part of the group. Kurt Hummel and Mercedes Jones unfortunately face injustices the most in the show. Kurt Hummel is an open gay male who prides himself on his fashionable style. He stays true to his identity through the show despite the negativity surrounding him. Mercedes Jones is a black woman who is often pushed to the back in the singing group, despite her strengths. She also faces bullying for her weight throughout the show. In the show, Kurt starts off as a very shy character. He tries to hide his identity from his peers because he was fearful he'd be bullied. The show shows us the vulnerable moment where Kurt comes out to his dad. He eventually opens up to the group and no longer feels as though he has to hide his true self. He continues to face bullying from other peers, especially the football players. He is called slurs, shoved into lockers, and at some points he was even thrown into the dumpster. He endures a lot of hardships throughout the series, but continues to push through. Even at times in the group, he still feels isolated despite having a small community of like people. He ends up switching schools after a football player constantly bullied him and unconsentingly kissed him. Once he makes the switch, he is able to feel safe and comfortable and gains confidence in himself again. He started the series believing that he had to hide who he was, but soon realized he was unhappy living like that. After opening up, he still faced challenges. It was not until he found a new group of people to surround himself with that he stopped facing these challenges. Mercedes Jones is constantly having to fight for the spotlight in the show, while the white characters get the main roles and featured parts over and over. This obviously frustrates Mercedes, but she speaks up about how she feels pushed to the side. Additionally, she is constantly being portrayed or referred to as sassy or diva-like, when in actuality she is actually just standing up for herself and expressing her opinions. This is both a microaggression and an injustice because it reinforces stereotypes that have been placed on black women, and it fully invalidates Mercedes' feelings. She continues to stand up for herself and speak up when she is confronted with injustices. No other characters in the show experience racial injustices and body shaming, making Mercedes feel isolated. Mercedes starts off the series believing that she will get good roles in solos if she puts in the hard work, but she realized that she wasn't always going to get the same opportunities because of her identity. This is obviously so unfair, but she learns that she'll have to stand up for herself and not let anyone push her to the side. Kurt takes action by advocating for equality and anti-bullying. Once he changes schools, he is able to take on a role of leadership and promote positivity. He is also able to fully accept himself and feel confident in his skin. At first, it was hard for Kurt to have agency because the school wasn't doing anything about the bullying, and Kurt was fearful to stand up for himself due to the violence and aggression targeted towards him. Mercedes takes action by standing up for herself and speaking up against the injustices she faces, especially when it comes to not being chosen for parts due to her identity. She eventually creates a girl group where she can take back her control and perform with people similar to herself. She then becomes a solo performer and is able to fully shine on her own. At first, it was hard for Mercedes to take agency because she could not control the biases and typecasting that was occurring in the group and from her teachers, but she still attempted to speak up for herself, and she was eager for change. The school setting played a major role in how injustice was experienced in the show. The teachers did not do anything about the bullying, violence, verbal abuse, name-calling that students endured. The teachers pretty much added fuel to the fire, specifically the cheer coach Sue Sylvester. She would gossip about and with students. She was violent and verbal with students, especially towards the Glee club and other kids who she perceived as different. She would favor students and set students up against one another. The entire series is set in the school, and it surrounds the challenges these high school students face every single day in a school setting. There were many typical high school stereotypes playing out in the show. For example, the football team is composed of popular boys who are uninterested in school and who pick on students they deem weak. The cheerleaders are the popular girls and are characterized in a way that makes them seem shallow, and the bookworms are picked on for not being as cool as others. All of these stereotypes are obviously false, but the show highlighted them, which is reinforcing the negative connotations they have. Additionally, the students who were in the Glee club were heavily picked on for being a diverse group that wasn't a mainstream club like a sports team. Both Mercedes and Kurt learned to stand up for themselves. They learned to feel comfortable embracing their differences, and they learned to use their voices and music as a way to express themselves. Kurt recognizes that being his authentic self makes him the happiest, and it also inspires other people to feel confident being themselves. Mercedes learned that she has to use her voice because the voice can be a powerful tool for combating injustices. They recognize that they thrive in a community of people who share common interests with themselves and support one another. The textbook highlights the benefits of having a community-centered artistic outlet that promotes activism and fighting against injustices. The group comes together and stands strong despite all being discriminated against in different ways for their identities. My 3 questions are: 1. How can teachers better support students who are being bullied? 2. Why is it important to feel safe at school? And 3. Have you ever witnessed or personally faced injustices in a school setting? Thank you all.